That small brown bottle of hydrogen peroxide sitting quietly in your medicine cabinet might be one of the most overlooked tools you could ever bring into your garden. Most people see it as nothing more than a basic first aid solution, something you dab on cuts or maybe use for whitening. But what many don't realize is that seasoned tomato growers have been quietly relying on it for years to grow bigger, stronger, and far more productive plants, all while spending almost nothing. We're talking about a product that costs around $1, yet delivers results that many expensive gardening products struggle to match. And the secret lies in its chemistry. Hydrogen peroxide, or HO, is essentially water with one extra oxygen atom. When it breaks down, that extra oxygen is released right where your plants need it most. That simple reaction can boost root health, fight disease, and dramatically improve plant growth. And once you understand how it works, you may never look at your garden the same way again. If you have ever grown tomatoes, you already know that fungal diseases are almost impossible to avoid. Problems like early blight leaf spot and septoria tend to show up unexpectedly and spread quickly, often leaving gardeners feeling frustrated and helpless. This is where hydrogen peroxide truly proves its value. Unlike many treatments that simply slow down the spread, hydrogen peroxide actively kills fungal spores on contact. It works through a process called oxidation. Because its chemical structure is unstable, it breaks apart when it touches organic material, releasing oxygen in a rapid burst of energy. That burst destroys fungal cells right where they live. Interestingly, tomato plants naturally produce small amounts of hydrogen peroxide as a defense mechanism when under attack. So when you apply it, you are essentially helping the plant do what it is already trying to do. With proper dilution and consistent use, this simple solution can stop infections quickly and help restore plant health. Part 3. Benefit 2. Boost seed germination, 155 words. Every tomato grower has experienced the frustration of planting seeds, waiting patiently, and then watching only a portion of them actually sprout. It can be especially disappointing when you're working with rare or heirloom varieties that you were excited to grow. Hydrogen peroxide offers a simple way to improve both the speed and success rate of germination. Because it contains an extra oxygen atom compared to water, it helps soften the outer seed coat, while also increasing oxygen availability to the seed itself. This combination helps trigger the internal biological processes that wake a seed from dormancy. To use this method, soak your tomato seeds in a 3% hydrogen peroxide solution for anywhere between 30 minutes and a few hours. After soaking, rinse them thoroughly with clean water before planting. This technique is especially helpful for older seeds or tougher varieties, giving them the extra push they need to sprout quickly and grow strong. Root rot is one of those problems that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. Above the soil, your tomato plant may look fine at first, but suddenly it begins to wilt, even when the soil is still moist. When you finally check the roots, they are brown, soft, and decaying. This condition is usually caused by overwatering or poor drainage, which creates a low oxygen environment where harmful fungi thrive. Hydrogen peroxide addresses both of these issues at the same time. First, it helps kill the fungi and bacteria responsible for the decay. Then, as it breaks down, it releases oxygen directly into the root zone, something waterlogged roots are desperately lacking. To treat root rot, mix 1 part 3% hydrogen peroxide with 2 parts water and apply it around the base of the plant. Allow the soil to dry out slightly before watering again. Used correctly, this method can slow damage, support recovery, and sometimes even save plants that would otherwise be lost. Transplant shock is one of the most common setbacks tomato growers face, especially when moving young seedlings from a protected indoor environment to the harsher conditions outside. One day, Your plants look healthy and strong, and just a few days later, the leaves begin to droop, turn yellow, and growth slows dramatically. This happens because the roots are suddenly exposed to new soil conditions, temperature changes, and potential pathogens. Hydrogen peroxide can make a significant difference during this critical transition period. By dipping the roots in a solution of 1 part 3% hydrogen peroxide and 2 parts water, before planting you help disinfect the root system and eliminate harmful microbes that may be present in the soil. At the same time, the extra oxygen released encourages faster root development. Some gardeners also pour this solution directly into the planting hole or use it for watering during the first few days. This provides a continuous oxygen boost when the plant needs it most, helping it recover faster and establish strong, healthy growth. Tomatoes are heavy feeders with large, active root systems, and they need loose, well-aerated soil to truly thrive. However, over time, soil can become compacted due to repeated watering foot traffic or simply the natural settling process. When this happens, the air pockets in the soil are reduced, making it harder for roots to breathe and grow properly. Hydrogen peroxide offers a simple way to improve soil structure without physically disturbing it. As it breaks down in the soil, it releases oxygen, which helps create tiny air pockets throughout the root zone. This added oxygen improves root respiration and allows plants to absorb water and nutrients more efficiently. To apply, mix about 1 teaspoon of 3% hydrogen peroxide into a gallon of water and use it during regular watering every couple of weeks. Over time, this small adjustment can lead to noticeably healthier plants and stronger growth. If you've ever grown tomatoes in containers or started seedlings indoors, you've likely encountered fungus gnats, those tiny flies that seem harmless but can quickly become a serious problem. While the adults are mostly annoying, their larvae live in the soil and feed on organic matter and young roots. In large numbers, these larvae can damage seedlings and slow down plant growth significantly. Hydrogen peroxide provides a fast and effective solution. When applied to the soil, it reacts immediately, breaking down and releasing oxygen. This creates a fizzing effect that is lethal to the soft-bodied larvae hiding just beneath the surface. To use, mix 1 part 3% hydrogen peroxide with 4 parts water and thoroughly drench the soil. The bubbling you see is a sign that it's working. Repeat this treatment once a week for a few weeks to eliminate newly hatched larvae and fully break the life cycle. This may not sound like the most exciting use, but it can prevent some of the biggest problems in your tomato garden. Many gardeners overlook the fact that diseases can spread from one plant to another through contaminated tools. When you prune an infected plant and then use the same shears on a healthy one, you're essentially transferring pathogens directly between plants. This is how serious issues like bacterial wilt or blight can spread rapidly across your entire garden. Hydrogen peroxide works as a powerful disinfectant that can eliminate bacteria, fungi, and even viruses from your tools. You can spray full-strength 3% hydrogen peroxide directly onto pruning shears, stakes, or cages, or soak them briefly in a diluted solution. Making this a regular habit, especially during pruning, can dramatically reduce the risk of disease outbreaks and help keep your tomato plants healthy throughout the growing season. Aphids are one of the most common pests that attack tomato plants, and they can cause serious damage in a very short amount of time. These tiny insects gather on the undersides of leaves and on new growth, feeding on plant sap and weakening the plant overall. As they feed, they also leave behind a sticky substance known as honeydew, which can lead to further issues like mold growth. If left untreated, aphid infestations can stunt growth, curl leaves, and even spread plant diseases. Hydrogen peroxide offers a gentle but effective way to control them without harsh chemicals. Mix 1 tablespoon of 3% hydrogen peroxide with 1 cup of water and spray it directly onto affected areas, especially under leaves where aphids tend to hide. Apply this treatment consistently once a week for a few weeks to keep the population under control and protect your plants. One of the most overlooked steps in gardening is preparing the soil before planting, especially if you are reusing old soil or planting in the same location year after year. Harmful bacteria, fungi, and pest eggs can remain hidden in the soil, waiting for new plants to grow. Hydrogen peroxide can help you start with a cleaner and safer growing environment. When applied to the soil, it works to reduce populations of harmful pathogens while also increasing oxygen levels. To use this method, mix about 1 cup of 3% hydrogen peroxide into 1 gallon of water and evenly drench the planting area. Allow the soil to sit for 1 to 2 days before planting to give the solution time to fully break down. This simple step can significantly reduce the risk of early disease and give your tomato plants a much healthier start. You can add fertilizer to your tomato plants regularly, but if the roots are not able to absorb those nutrients efficiently, much of that effort goes to waste. This is where hydrogen peroxide provides a less obvious but very important benefit. As hydrogen peroxide breaks down in the soil, it releases oxygen into the root zone. Healthy roots need oxygen to function properly, and when they have enough of it, they are far more effective at absorbing essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. This is especially useful in dense or poorly draining soils where oxygen levels are naturally low. By adding a diluted hydrogen peroxide solution, about 1 teaspoon per gallon of water, into your watering routine. Every couple of weeks, you create a healthier root environment. Over time, this leads to stronger growth, greener foliage, and ultimately, a higher yield of tomatoes. Many gardeners focus on soil and plant care, but overlook one important detail. Seeds themselves can carry disease. Bacteria and fungal spores can remain on the surface of seeds from previous plants, especially if you are saving seeds from your own garden. Hydrogen peroxide provides a quick and effective way to reduce this risk before planting. To sanitize seeds, soak them in a 3% hydrogen peroxide solution for about 5 minutes. After that, rinse them thoroughly under clean running water for at least a minute to remove any remaining residue. This short treatment helps eliminate most surface pathogens without damaging the seed itself. It's a simple step that takes very little time, but can prevent problems that might otherwise affect your plants throughout the entire growing season. Before you start using hydrogen peroxide in your garden, there are a few important things to keep in mind to use it safely and effectively. First, always use the standard 3% hydrogen peroxide that you can easily find in grocery stores or pharmacies. Stronger concentrations can damage plant tissue and even harm your skin if not properly diluted. Second, always dilute the solution and test it on a small portion of your plant before applying it more widely. Every garden environment is different, and a quick test can help you avoid unwanted damage. It's also important to store hydrogen peroxide in its original dark container, since light causes it to break down quickly and lose effectiveness. One of its biggest advantages is that it leaves no harmful residue. It naturally decomposes into water and oxygen, making it an environmentally friendly option for gardeners. Used correctly, this simple and inexpensive product can improve plant health, prevent disease, and increase yields, making it a powerful addition to your gardening routine.